Hi there. Welcome to Apple World because I had it with you. Okay, I'm Aunt, like your daddy's sister, Aunt, like a family picture, and I had way preferred Narcs over you to be H. No doubt that man, he's still with you. He can't leave you all take some time off. I bet it's Antigua, sir. You're desirous. You're envious that quickly. Ruff is carrying on with the existence with Rihanna that you were unable to live. It seems as though Drake is as yet distraught that Rihanna dismissed him, and he just dissed her in another tune, guaranteeing that she was normal in bed and concealing her relationship with Pronto. Ruff. And this is a similar man who freely claimed his adoration for Rihanna, and said he needed to have a family with her. I don't have the fantasy of goodness. Drake began a family with Rihanna, and this resembles so great, but Rihanna isn't the main lady. Drake haphazardly dissed on his new undertaking. He likewise pursued jazz performer Esperanza Spalding in light of the fact that she beat him for the Best New Craftsman's Grammy grant. Get this, 12 years prior fans are currently saying there's something genuinely dreadful with how Drake continually pursues people of color, and his fixation on Rihanna is getting alarming right now. Yet how did Rihanna and quickly respond to Drake dissing them? We should get into it. She's somebody I've been enamored with. Since I was 22 years of age, it's been a long time since Rihanna dismissed Drake, and regardless of the way that Rihanna has continued on, and has two youngsters with quickly Ruff, it seems as though Drake is still unpleasant. Rihanna turned him down. Drake just delivered one more collection. Required every one of the canines, and by he's dissing a lot of individuals totally unwarranted. In the tune Away From Home, he name drops craftsman Esperanza Spalding with the line 4 Grammys to my name, 1. 0 designations. Esperanza Spalding was getting every one of the gestures of recognition. And this simply demonstrates that Drake is the most harsh man in the stage, in light of the fact that the main explanation he referenced Esperanza is on the grounds that she won the Grammy grant for Best New Craftsman as far as possible back in 2011, which Drake was likewise named for. The present Esperanza is a bassist, vocalist, musician, and writer who has won 5 Grammys altogether and has 2 privileged doctors. 8's from Berkeley School, so we're almost certain she's not wasting any time over Drake dissing her, and the main individual Drake embarrassed with those verses, himself. Yet it deteriorates from here. In the tune Dread of Level, Drake pursues his reputed ex Rihanna, calling her room abilities normal, and saying that he's would be wise to ladies than her. He additionally makes a reference to the dad of Rihanna's 2 kids, Pronto Rocky, with verses why they make it sound like I'm actually hung up on you. That would never be young. Lady can't destroy me, preferable him over me, and afterward he makes obviously he's alluding to genuine on the grounds that he proceeds to sing. I'm at a reference to Rihanna's 2016 collection Away. That wasn't all, and Drake proceeds to fire the pettiest circle at Rihanna, guaranteeing that she was normal in bed, no doubt. And this was normal with you, definitely. I'm against cuz I had it with you, he likewise says, and I had way better compared to you, to be straight. 8 forward, no doubt that man, he's still with you. He can't leave you. Drake additionally references quickly Ruff on the melody. One more late night, one more track from his new collection with the line I ain't pretty. Flow, get truly Ruff, alluding to both as quickly as possible stage name. Ruff and his epithet Flow. Now you could contend that Drake is doing this only for clout and to raise publicity for his new collection, since he knows that referencing Rihanna in a manner, shape, or frame will get individuals talking anyway. Regardless of whether this is the case, it's very woeful that at 36 years of age, and at this stage in his profession, Drake needs to depend on disseminating ladies from his past to advance his collection. What makes what is going on significantly more humiliating for Drake is the way that his fixation on Rihanna is very proven and factual, and he straightforwardly conceded on more than one occasion that he was enamored with her and needed to wed her. Rihanna never freely guaranteed Drake, and at one point, she even quit being companions with him. Drake and Rihanna initially met in 2005 when Rihanna was in Toronto shooting the music video for Ponto Replay. Drake would later guarantee he fell head over heels with Rihanna from the very first moment. Anyway, Riri wasn't keen on him, and soon after she began dating Chris Brown. Clearly, Rihanna and Chris weren't intended to be. However, what's insane is that while Rihanna and Chris were dating, Drake continually tossed shots at Chris. Anyway, after Rihanna and Chris separated following the DV episode, Drake began behaving like Chris's companion, and they even teamed up on a melody together, which by and by shows you how unimportant Drake is at any rate. Rihanna and Drake originally started sentimental tales in May 2009 when they were spotted on what resembled a date at Fortunate Strike Bowling Alley in New York City. Rihanna immediately shut down the bits of gossip and made it understood that she was simply messing around with Drake and had no goals of getting serious. Yet, and that there was no reality to Drake. No, me and Drake. We're companions. We're still companions, really, and you balanced out 2 or multiple times, no doubt a couple of times. Did you entertain the concept a little, did? Were you looking at him? No. I think you were looking at him. I think you were eyeballing what is happening to see no me and Dr. Nay. Somewhat, no, we weren't. We never, no, except for this, didn't prevent Drake from fixating on Rihanna. And regardless of Rihanna clarifying that their bowling date was definitely not no joking matter, Drake made an entire tune about it on the track Firecrackers he sings. Who might have anticipated Fortunate Strike would have you stayed with me? Rihanna was plainly not stayed with Drake after one date. However, Drake actually continued to discuss her in interviews, yet since Rihanna continued overlooking him, he then, at that point, began tossing conceal at her and asserting she drove him on and gave him bogus expectation. In his 2010 meeting with the New York Times, Drake said he felt like Rihanna's pawn ad. She was doing precisely exact thing I've done to such countless ladies all through my life, which is show them quality time then. At that point, vanish, I resembled wow, this feels horrible anyway. A couple of years after the fact, he told Drifter that Rihanna is as yet his definitive dream soon. After Rihanna and Drake reconnected and teamed up on the tune work, and Drake was persuaded that this time around Rihanna would remain at the 2016 VMAs, Drake even openly purported his affection to Rihanna, while giving her the Vanguard grant. Yet in light of her response, any reasonable person would agree the inclination was not common. However, most we love the one who hasn't changed since the very beginning. She's somebody I've been enamored with since I was 22 years of age. Many fans him. Drake forgiving the entire discourse about his affection for Rihanna and taking her second, and after 2 years, Rihanna focused on this in a meeting with Vogue. Furthermore, said that holding up through Drake disco was presumably the most awkward part I could do without an excessive number of praises, and I could do without to be placed on impact. Rihanna made sense of. She likewise uncovered that she's, as of now, not in contact with Drake, and said we don't have a fellowship currently, however we're not foes. Possibly what will be yet the explanation. Rihanna finished her fellowship with Drake wasn't his cheesy VMA discourse, and it later turned out that she determined from shared companions that Drake he was concealing a child whom he fathered with a French grown-up celebrity. Pusha T would later uncover Drake for being a lowlife on the track. The narrative of added on, and Push-Up pretty much constrained Drake to become a current dad. By this point, Rihanna was at that point 100% finished with Drake anyway. She never openly dissed him or uncovered any of his grimy clothing in the media. It would have been extremely simple for Rihanna to do this. Yet she pursued the more respectable option and to tally quit referencing Drake in broad daylight. As a matter of fact, her 2018 Vogue interview was the last time she discussed him, so it's been a long time since Rihanna shut that part for good, and meanwhile she tracked down satisfaction with Pronto Ruff and had 2 kids in the meantime. Drake has never had a committed relationship, and it seems like each lady who interacted with him would rapidly take off with respect to Rihanna, and as quickly as possible, Riri set up an impromptu get-together for Pronto in New York throughout the end of the week, and they seemed as though they didn't have any worries whatsoever. So most would agree they're totally unbothered by Drake's trivial diss track. Fans, anyway, had a ton to say regarding Drake haphazardly dissing Rihanna and calling